The private room was ready for 5, but only Robert Anders sat there early, a framed wedding photo set beside his plate. His thumb traced the glass over Margaret's smile, frozen on their wedding day 50 years ago. His son David, daughter-in-law Patricia, and grandson Lucas stepped into the room. Patricia's eyes never left her phone.
Still clutching that photo, Robert. It's been 5 years. Some people learn to move on.
I brought this for Grandma, Grandpa. I drew her in art class.
Bring us your most expensive champagne. It isn't every day you toast a ghost.
Robert's jaw tightened. He said nothing, but his hand moved protectively near the photo. He slowly turned the frame so it faced him, away from Patricia's cold gaze.
Honestly, no one remembers her anymore. Maybe you should too, Robert.
The table froze. Lucas's fork clattered to his plate, but no one moved.
Margaret is remembered, Patricia. Not by you, maybe, but by the people she cared for.
Spare me the saint act, Robert. Margaret's been dead 5 years. The world moved on, and so should you.
Grandpa, what was Grandma's favorite thing to cook?
Peach cobbler. She made it every Sunday. Brown sugar and cinnamon, the whole house smelled like home.
Enough with the cooking stories, Robert. You've been telling the same ones for years.
Robert stood, murmured an excuse, and walked toward the restroom, the framed photo still in his grip. In the restroom, he stood before the mirror. His reflection blurred with Margaret's image behind the glass. A single tear slipped down his cheek, but he did not wipe it away.
Not tonight. I won't let them take her from me.
When he returned to the table, the silence was heavy. Only Lucas met his eyes, small and hopeful. The waiter returned with leather-bound menus, but Patricia's eyes stayed locked on her screen.
Grilled lobster tail, market price, and the truffle mac and cheese. A bottle of your best Sancerre. Quickly, please.
Just a garden salad, dressing on the side, please.
A salad? Robert, it's your anniversary. You could at least pretend to celebrate.
Dad, why does Mom keep being so mean to Grandpa? It's Grandma's anniversary. She's ruining it.
Lucas, that's enough. Dad, about Catherine. Have you heard anything from her at all?
Catherine, she walked out on her dying mother and never looked back. She's dead to this family. Don't speak her name.
She walked out because you drove her away, Patricia, and I did nothing.
The silence that followed was a wound none of them knew how to dress. Lucas stared at his plate, David at his hands. The waiter hovered, uncertain, before retreating to the kitchens without another word. Despite the chill, Robert leaned toward Lucas, voice low.
Your grandmother's mother died when she was just a girl. That loss never left her. When she trained as a nurse, she found a hospice unit that felt like purpose. She said hurting people needed someone to hold their hand.
Patricia ostentatiously turned her wrist, tapping her watch face.
Keep going. He's the only one listening. Margaret used to tell me every goodbye she eased was a hello to a better place. She held over 300 hands, Lucas. Her memory won't die at this table. I'll make sure of it.
The kitchen door swung open, and the waiter emerged with covered plates, steam curling into the candlelight.
Finally. I was beginning to think they were growing the lettuce.
Forks rose hesitantly. The meal had begun, but the silence was a fifth guest now. The lobster shell splintered under Patricia's fork. She ate with the focus of someone who'd earned it.
Honestly, it's just a dinner, not a funeral. You've been staring at that photo all night like she's still here.
Robert's fingers tightened on the frame. The candlelight caught the glass over Margaret's face, but he said nothing.
Grandpa, if Grandma was sitting here, would she talk about her patients with me?
She would. Every name, every family. She carried them with her always, like precious cargo.
Oh, spare us. She had expensive taste for a nurse. This place every year, who paid for that?
David's fork missed his plate and rang off the table. He stood, chair scraping, face pale.
Patricia, enough. You don't get to sit there and mock my mother.
For 3 heartbeats, surprise held her face. Then it hardened into something colder. Her phone shattered the silence. She answered without looking away from Robert, but the call swallowed her attention. While Patricia's voice carried on the phone, Robert drew a worn photo album from inside his jacket.
She can't hear me. Let him see the truth. Lucas, this is Mrs. Delgado. Your grandmother held her husband's hand every night his last week, so he wouldn't die alone.
She did that for strangers?
The call ended. Patricia pocketed her phone and saw the open album. David's eyes stayed low.
Still dragging out old albums? We have something more pressing to discuss. David and I need help with the mortgage. A bigger place before Lucas outgrows his room. Surely you could contribute.
I'm on a fixed income, Patricia. Margaret's medical bills took most of what we had. There's nothing left to give.
Patricia's jaw locked. She looked at David, who only stared at his plate, silent. The candle between them flickered as if the room itself had grown colder. Robert pushed back his chair, murmuring about the restroom, and stepped into the corridor. At the front desk, the manager said, "Reservation under Taylor. We're still expecting one more." Robert's steps slowed.
Catherine's married name. No, just a coincidence. She wouldn't come back tonight.
When he returned to the table, Patricia was mid-story, her voice bright and cutting.
Jane's husband booked the penthouse at the Mariner. Private chef, live violinist, a $5,000 cake. That's how you celebrate an anniversary. Not with a sad little dinner for a dead woman.
Patricia, that's enough. I won't sit here while you talk about my mother like that.
Patricia's expression froze, then sealed shut. She set down her glass with the delicacy of locking a door. Robert sat motionless, the photo clutched like a shield. No one spoke. The only sound was the clink of Patricia's wine glass as she raised it to her lips, defiant. The dessert cart arrived, but only Patricia pointed at a chocolate slice. Lucas pushed his plate away.
Mom, can we go home? I'm tired and I don't like this.
No. This is important. You'll sit until we're finished.
But Robert was no longer in the restaurant. The candlelight dissolved, and 9 years earlier, a hospital room took shape.
Calling a dying woman manipulative isn't just cruel, it's evil. She's your mother-in-law, Patricia?
Then leave, Catherine. No one invited you. You've always been too emotional.
David leaned against the wall, hands in pockets, silent. Catherine's face shattered. Then she walked out, the door slamming. From the bed, Margaret's frail hand lifted, her lips parting, but no sound came.
I should have stopped it then. I didn't. Not tonight.
Robert's jaw set. This time, he would not let silence be his answer. Robert folded his napkin with slow precision and set it beside the photo. Then he looked directly at Patricia.
Why are you so determined to erase her, Patricia? All night, you've tried to wipe her out of every memory.
I'm being practical, Robert. It's been 5 years. You can't expect me to pretend she's still here.
Practical? You haven't spoken a single kind word about her. Not one. That's not practicality, that's cruelty.
Lucas's face crumpled, tears spilling onto his plate. He didn't make a sound.
She gave her life to caring for others. 300 families, Patricia. 300.
If you're going to lecture me, we're leaving. Lucas, get your coat.
David half rose, his face torn, but he didn't move toward either side.
Mom, please. I don't want to go.
The room seemed to hold its breath. Patricia's hand froze on her purse, and for a moment, no one was sure what would happen next. The door swung open, and corridor light sliced through the tension. Everyone turned. Catherine stood in the doorway, a thick manila envelope held against her dark blouse. She looked older, more tired maybe, but her eyes held the same fierce love.
Forgive the interruption. I believe I have a seat at this table.
She walked past David and Lucas, not acknowledging Patricia at all, and stopped beside Robert's chair. She bent and kissed his cheek. The gesture was tender, deliberate.
I'm sorry I'm late, Dad. The flight from Boston was delayed.
Then she sat in the empty chair beside him and pushed the envelope across the tablecloth.
Aunt Catherine? Is that really you?
She came back. After 9 years, she's here.
The envelope lay on the white cloth, unopened. Patricia's jaw was a locked hinge, fury radiating from her stillness. Catherine didn't spare her a glance. Instead, she reached across and covered Robert's trembling hand with her own. At Catherine's nod, Robert lifted the envelope. His hands shook as he tore the seal. Inside, a small leather journal, its cover worn at the corners, and a USB drive tied with a blue ribbon.
Go ahead, Dad. Read it. She wrote that for you.
Robert's thumb traced the gold lettering of his name. He opened the first page, and Margaret's handwriting met him like a breath.
Her voice. It's right here.
He pressed the journal to his chest, unable to speak.
I found it in her things after she passed. She never stopped writing to you, Dad. Every day of that last year. And this, she held up the drive, is a video of everyone she touched. I spent 18 months finding them.
How touching. A scrapbook and a home movie. You think that makes her a saint?
Catherine didn't look at her. She slid the drive onto the table, and the room grew quieter. Patricia's hand tightened on her wine glass, but she said nothing.
A video? Who cares about some sentimental montage of a nurse? Nobody's watching that.
Catherine ignored her. She unfolded the tablet case with deliberate care, connected the drive, and centered the screen on the table.
Can I see it, please, Aunt Catherine? I never got to hear her voice.
73 people, Lucas. That's how many shared their stories of her. She was their safe harbor.
Robert pressed a fist to his mouth. The journal slid onto his lap, but he couldn't look away from the tablet.
Every single one told me they remembered her. They remembered because she held on when no one else would.
73. They remember.
She lifted her hand, and the manager stepped forward. Without a word, he dimmed the chandeliers until only candlelight remained. The room breathed in the near dark. Faces became outlines, but the tablet glowed brighter. She pressed play. The screen bloomed with an elderly doctor's face. His voice, thin with age, filled the room. He said, "I worked with Margaret for over 13 years. She'd stay past her shift just to hold a hand, without hesitation."
She looks like an angel in the stories.
A nurse in pink scrubs appeared next, her eyes wet. She spoke of long nights. Margaret taught her to sit with families through the long watches, not just treat bodies. Robert's lips moved silently, shaping her name. The photo he'd guarded all night now pressed against his chest. Patricia tugged her napkin, jaw tight. Her eyes darted toward the door and back. A young woman, the daughter of a patient, described Margaret singing softly to her father when he was terrified and alone.
She sang for people too. His whisper cracked.
The tablet kept playing, voice after voice. Patricia's heel tapped faintly under the table, but she stayed. The video continued, but Patricia's agitation boiled over. She shoved her chair back, the screech cutting through the testimony.
This is absurd. A parade of nobodies crying over a nurse? I'm not sitting through another minute.
Mom, please, I haven't seen all of Grandma yet. Please don't make me leave.
Lucas, you don't have to go. If you want to stay, you stay.
Lucas looked at his father, then at his grandfather, and with a small but definite nod, he scooted his chair closer to Robert.
Fine. Stay. But don't expect me to care if you cry yourself to sleep tonight.
She snatched her clutch and walked out without a backward glance. David stood, paralyzed between his wife and his family.
I'm sorry.
The door swung shut. The room settled into a heavy stillness. Only the tablet's light remained, pulsing with another story. And then there were three, Robert, Catherine, and Lucas, huddled together as the video kept playing, voice after voice refusing to forget. The video moved on. A chaplain, a neighbor, a mother. Each story echoed, Margaret stayed. Catherine opened the journal to a page marked with a ribbon. Her thumb rested beneath the date.
She wanted me to read this to you, Dad. It's about us.
Robert took the journal, his fingers unsteady. His eyes traced the lines before his voice found them.
She wrote, I pray my Catherine finds her way back to her father. He won't be whole without her.
He read the next lines himself, his voice barely a whisper.
If David ever wakes to what he lost, I pray he returns too. Bring her home, Robert.
His voice shattered on home. Lucas leaned into his side, and Catherine covered her mouth. The manager approached, set a lit candle in a glass holder on the table, and stepped back without a word. On the tablet, a final tear-streaked face appeared, then dozens of voices overlapped. Thank you, Margaret. The video ended. The door creaked open again. David stood in the doorway, coat gone, tie loose, face raw and swollen.
I couldn't stay. Hearing those voices, I saw her. I saw what I did.
He took a step forward, then another. Catherine's body tensed, but she didn't move away.
You've got a lot to make up for, David.
I know. I'll spend the rest of my life doing it, if you'll let me.
Her resistance cracked. She opened her arms, and he fell into her, sobbing against her shoulder.
Dad.
Robert rose slowly. He placed his hand on David's back, a silent welcome. They pulled chairs close, and Catherine restarted the video from the final tribute, 73 voices, now witnessed by all four. The same words filled the room, but this time the grief had shifted. It felt like something else, something lighter. As the final montage faded, David's composure shattered. His tears fell openly, shoulders shaking. Robert reached across and took his son's hand, squeezing it without a word.
I've been training for months. I'm going to take over Mom's old hospice route.
I want to help people too. Like Grandma did. She changed lives.
She changed us all, didn't she? You'll carry her with you, Lucas. Always.
Memories spilled freely now, peach cobbler Sundays, the stories of saved hands. Laughter and tears mingled at last. The manager approached, quietly boxing the untouched food into to-go containers.
Mrs. Anders' table is always welcome here. No charge tonight, not ever.
Robert nodded, unable to speak. The manager retreated, leaving the family with their grief and gratitude. For the first time that night, the room felt full, not with conflict, but with her. Robert gathered the framed photo and journal, pressing them against his chest like a child holding a heartbeat.
Let me help you with your coat, Dad.
She held his jacket, and he slid his arms in without ever letting go of his treasures.
Can I hold your hand, Aunt Catherine?
She took it, and Lucas held on tightly, his small fingers curled around hers. David silently slipped an arm around his father's shoulders, and Robert leaned into the weight. The manager pulled the door open, his eyes glistening as he nodded once, a quiet salute. Outside, the Savannah night was cool and still. Gas lamps cast halos on the cobblestones.
She would have loved this. Us. Together.
Arms linked, they walked together toward the parking lot, the framed photo catching the moonlight like a promise. Within months, Catherine moved back to Savannah, taking over Margaret's volunteer hospice route as if she'd never left. Robert, now 72, often joined her, sitting with patients and telling them stories about his wife. David filed for divorce without public spectacle, telling Lucas the truth quietly over breakfast one morning. Within 2 years, Patricia's marriage legally dissolved. She moved away and was not mentioned again. Lucas grew tall, visiting his grandmother's memorial bench every Sunday to lay fresh magnolias. Robert lived another 11 years, his final morning spent reading Margaret's journal in his garden. Catherine trained new volunteers in her mother's methods, ensuring the route would survive her own lifetime. The family gathered at Magnolia's every anniversary, the same table, the same photo, now with laughter. The framed wedding photograph stayed on the mantel, glass worn from touch, never moved again. And in the quiet of every evening, Robert would trace the glass and say, "Thank you for coming home, my dear." On the first anniversary after that night, they returned to the same private room, the same table set for four, and her photo.
She's still the center of this table. She always will be.
To the woman who taught us how to hold on.
To Mom, I'm still learning, but I'm here.
I told my class about her hospice work. My teacher wants to volunteer now.
The manager arrived with a peach cobbler, its aroma curling through the room like a homecoming.
On the house. For Mrs. Anders.
Robert cut into it, and they ate slowly, sharing stories that no longer hurt but danced.
She'd say the cobbler's still not as good as hers, but close.
The candle burned down to its final inch, but the room stayed bright. Not with light, but with her. The framed wedding photo now sat on the mantel in Robert's living room, the journal tucked beside it like a matched set. Robert, now 72, sat in his armchair with a cup of cooling tea, his gaze resting on her smile. From the next room, Catherine's voice drifted in, soft with professional warmth.
We'll be there by 7, Mrs. Burgess. Just like Mom would have done.
He closed his eyes and let the words settle her root, her voice, her legacy in their daughter's hands. The house smelled of peach cobbler. David had tried his mother's recipe earlier.
You'd be proud of them all, my love. Even David found his way.
Outside, the savannah evening settled into its own quiet rhythm, but inside, the silence was not empty. It was full. He opened the journal to the last page she'd written. Nothing new, just her name, the date, and a single line.
They remembered.
And so it was that on the night of his 50th anniversary, Robert Anders sat alone in the empty restaurant. The last candle flickered on the table, its light catching the glass of the wedding frame. He traced her smile with his thumb, the way he had done 1,000 times before. But tonight, there was no grief in the gesture, only a deep, abiding peace. He did not need the world to remember Margaret. He never had. He needed his daughter, who had crossed 9 years of silence with a journal and a video. He needed his son, who had wept his way back to the family he'd abandoned. He needed his grandson, who would carry her stories into the future. And the 73 voices that still whispered through the room. Thank you, Margaret. She was remembered. Not by the world, but by the ones who mattered. And that was enough.